Bev Salt, and welcome back to the Salt Sessions. I'm delighted to launch season 3, and today I want to give a very warm welcome to Alice Widger from Milk It Digital. Alice, you're a very special guest to me because you were my first ever guest in season 1 of my podcast, and we talked about SEO insights at the time. So can you introduce us to our listeners?
Yes, hello, I'm Alice and I own Milk It Digital Limited. I'm an SEO specialist. I work with brands all across the UK, from marketing departments to individual business owners, B2B, e-commerce. If it's to do with SEO and getting found on search engines, then I do it.
Thank you. Today, we're going to talk about GEO. Is it just good SEO? So I read an article recently, which has only been updated on the 3rd of September. So that was only 7 days ago. And the article is called Bad News for Google. New survey shows that people are now using AI instead of search engines. So it mentions a survey undertaken by Future AI Sentiment Wave 3, and it claims that 62% of people in the UK now use AI tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Copilot instead of traditional search engines for certain tasks. And it lists the top six things that people are using AI for. First one is planning a holiday. Next, creating a personalised fitness plan. People are using it to find the right gift. I confess I have also used it to find the right gift as well. Troubleshooting tech, comparing products. I think this is a key one for marketeers like us, because people are using it to compare prices, product differences and perceived benefits. I'm just going to give an example of my LED face mask search. So I've been looking at an LED face mask. Do you use one?
No, I don't. No, they freak me out a little bit, I have to say. They're kind of it's all a bit kind of RoboCop, Battlestar Galactica stuff.
They do look a bit intimidating, don't they? There's quite a few on the market, so I've been using it to compare the different products, the pricing, what are the perceived benefits, and what are the key differences. And it's just a really quick way to pull up, right, these are my top 3, which one should I choose? And then finally, people are using AI to draft emails and messages. So I think from that survey, we can assume that behaviour is shifting towards AI first search. So there's been a lot of buzz lately around the terms GEO, which stands for Generative Engine Optimisation, and LLMs, that's another one, which stands for Large Language Models. There's a lot of people out there who are offering expert advice on how to rank in AI. And to use one of your terms, Alice, you call them GEO Bros, which is a very Gen Z term.
Yeah, it's not bad for someone who's 45, is
it? From a business owner point of view and marketeers, we're now paying attention and we're asking the question, do I now need to incorporate GEO as part of my overall strategy? So it's great to have you here today to discuss this in more detail. Let's go back to the beginning then, for people who are not familiar with the term GEO. Can you explain what is GEO and why is everyone talking about it?
Yeah. So GEO is SEO. So we're done. No, I was only joking. So the term GEO is one of those things that is cropped up, and if you are on places like LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, you've probably seen it being sort of knocked around. I would probably say that if you're a business owner or if you're someone who's not within marketing, it's probably something you're not particularly aware of, or you've even heard before. And I think that's where these things kind of come in. This is where you get like these abbreviations of GEO, which sort of comes out. So GEO is something which is like cropped up over the last, I would say, it's really started sort of gaining traction on LinkedIn and sort of the last, I would say, 8 months, 12 months. And it was being bandied around before, but I was, to be honest, pretty much ignoring it. It's come about because obviously things like ChatGPT, you've got Claude, you've got all these different platforms, all these different LLMs for doing AI search on. Obviously, ChatGPT is the largest one. That was the one which was launched by Bing. It's the one which has been out pretty much for longer. Obviously, Google had their own. Also, Google has like their Google AI as well overviews happening. GEO has been marketed as this thing that you now need to be doing to get your content found on ChatGPT and all its cousins. It's being sort of touted as this thing which is different to search engine optimization. And thing is with these things is that, is it actually something you need to be doing, or is it just one of those things which is just frankly a scare tactic to go, I need to sort it out, this is a really urgent thing and I need to start paying more or paying someone else to do it over someone who is in, say, content marketing or in SEO for search engine optimization.
In your opinion, then, is there anything about GEO that SEO doesn't cover?
So I've been doing a lot of reading on it. Obviously, I'm in SEO, so I cut my teeth, obviously, was search engines. I've been doing it for 12 years, and search engines have just always been search engines. Now we've got what I call search platforms. For me, search engines, ChatGPT, that all come under the umbrella of a search platform. I haven't seen anything from GEO tactics that SEO doesn't do. And I've been reading a lot of posts on LinkedIn about it. I've been watching different things, reading articles. And as of today's date, no one yet who is doing GEO has been able to give me a definitive answer of what they're doing is different to SEO. They try, they do all things like, we need to have schema on the website, we need to like chunk content so it's easily read. It's like, yeah, but in SEO, we were doing that years ago. And if you were doing good SEO, you would have been doing that before anyway. Or they'll talk about things like entities and things like that and sort of relevance of content. But we have been doing that. And clearly, SEO and the people who've been doing good SEO have now been found on places like ChatGPT. So my clients already appear on ChatGPT and across multiple other platforms just from the SEO we've been doing. And interesting, like you said, you cited the article earlier on where experts on GEO have been recommended when you ask ChatGPT for GEO experts. They got recommended because of the SEO work they did before. So it kind of proves itself that GEO, as of yet, has not had anything different to SEO.
Yes, so I've been reading GEO Bros are saying content needs to be AI readable. So things like structured, having FAQs and having headings and just answering the question. But like you just mentioned, that's what SEO experts have been doing and writing things in such a way for search engines to pick it up. So it's not entirely different to being found on AI search. And GEO claims that you need a complete digital presence, so social media profiles, or you need website and you need to be in publications and trade publications. But isn't that just digital PR that SEO experts have been doing for a long time now as well?
Exactly. And we've always said in SEO, having a social presence as well will help your SEO. It's not a direct link. Unless you're using Pinterest, then it is seen as a direct link back to, in terms of an SEO format. A backlink on Pinterest does count as a backlink. But having social mentions all strengthens your overall brand within your SEO sort of campaign. And that's the thing, like the ultimate goal of SEO is brand awareness. And this is exactly the same with what they're calling GEO is brand awareness. Well, that's what we've been doing with SEO, or at least if you've been doing SEO properly, then you would have been doing that anyway. And we're seeing that play out now on ChatGPT. You'll find that sort of brands that have got a very strong brand presence, obviously they're going to be found on ChatGPT. And carrying on working on your brand, even if you're an emerging company, if you're building a website for the first time, putting those fundamental elements into your site, which you should be doing anyway. A website isn't a standalone thing. A search engine optimization isn't standalone. It's all part of the marketing puzzle. The marketing puzzle is social. It is digital PR. It is content. It is your website. It's all these things together all make up the fabric of search engine optimization, or GEO, if you want to rename it that. Then it's all golden.
Yeah, and same with citations as well. Citation worthiness, which having things like clear quotes and references, which again, SEO practitioners have been doing since SEO was born.
We've been banging the drum for years. It's like everyone's listening now because it's called something else.
By the way, I love the term GEO Bros. So to use your phrase, why are GEO Bros the new backlink farmers?
So yeah, this was kind of a bit of a joke that was sort of happening on LinkedIn. I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn for my sins. And myself and like a couple other SEOs have been sort of talking about, and the general feeling, and I'm not going to name any GEOs out there. I'm not here to diss anyone or bring anyone down, but it feels like some GEOs are sort of jumping on the bandwagon, very much in the same way that backlink farmers did back when Google, sort of, what was it, nearly 10 years ago now, said that backlinks are really actually quite important for your SEO and raising the profile of your website. And suddenly we had this mass explosion of backlink farmers going, we can get you backlinks for this, this, and this, and you can buy them for a $5, and it's all golden, and it's great, and it's really do great stuff for your SEO, and you really, really need it. I kind of feel like GEO is the new explosion of backlink farmers, where suddenly AI has come along, LMMs, we've got new ways of searching, which is great. It's all new ways to be found, but it feels very dodgy. And someone who, I've been in this game a long time, when they're just regurgitating what SEO is, but dressed up in a new jacket, just makes me feel pretty ick.
Alice, for the benefit for those that don't know what a backlink is, can you just explain what a backlink is, please?
Yes, of course. So a backlink is a link from another website to yours. But I'm an SEO, for example, so if I was featured in an article, say on The Guardian, if I was lucky enough to get on The Guardian, then they would hopefully link back to my website, and then that would be counted as a backlink to my website.
Thank you. How can you get your content found on both search engines and LLMs?
Yeah, so write good stuff. But so write good stuff in a nutshell, but in a slightly more helpful way, is that when it comes to content, and I always say this to my clients, it's all about being relevant to your ideal client. And whether that's if you're in marketing, if you're e-commerce, if you're service, whatever it happens to be, your end customer, your end client has an issue or something they need. So you need to be thinking about your content in those terms. You want to be thinking about your end user. So it's like, what do they want? What are they looking for? And how do you provide that? How do you fix that? How is it that you deal with what they want? So once you know what that is, your content is going to be less generic. So I'm sure that everyone's tried it out. You've popped in a blog post idea to ChatGPT and gone, write me a blog post on this. And it comes back very generic, because it is. It's just basically an overview of this thing that you do that people might need. It doesn't do anything for you in terms of your business, who you are, what your clients' specific needs are. All of these things aren't included in a ChatGPT post, which is why unique content and actually having someone who's a really good writer is so important for not only your brand, because people are wising up to what ChatGPT sounds like and writes like, but it's also important in order to be found, because you want to address those things that people are actually looking for. They've got, if, for example, you sell trainers, you don't just go, I'm going to have a blog post on trainers. It's like, what are the best trainers for someone who has bunions, for example? Or, what are the best running trainers for the countryside, in the mud? something along those lines. But we start to drill down into very, sort of very niche needs, but there is a need behind it. So then you want to start thinking about how you show that content. And this is where GEO Bros like to say that GEO is different. And they're like, it has to be what they call, I think they call it chunking, which sounds really gross. It's like, sounds like someone's being sick. Anyway, so the idea of chunking is that you basically put text into chunkable bites that they're sort of easy to digest, which just this whole digestive thing happening with GEO. I don't know what that's about. This is no different to what we did before. It's like all blog posts, you start with a good introduction. What are people expecting to find the blog post to be about? What's it going to cover? And then we start to piece it out. So we'll have our headings. So we start with our H1, got our, our title, like, best running shoes for muddy terrain, for example, for women.
Yeah.
And then we have our introduction, and then we start to piece out the content. So you start to use your H2 titles to piece it out. If you've got content to separate within your H2 content, you can use H3s, and you go down in a hierarchy through your H titles that way. And then each part has a purpose. We don't just sort of ramble on about trainers in general and then skip to something about arch support or mud or different types of mud. We do it in a very set way. So you've got your introduction, you start talking about maybe the terrain or issues that you might have running in the mud, types of trainers, best for this, best for that, moving from road to mud and then back again. Things like that, things which are going to make sense to the person reading it and what they might need. And it's delivering that content which is easy to read for people. First and foremost, you want your content to be easy to read for people, and then search engine will follow. And then at the end, you can do a nice conclusion. Obviously, you want to link to your products and categories, sign up to newsletters, all those sorts of things, and that call to actions. This is no different for being found on ChatGPT or anywhere else. It uses the exact same format. If you want to call it chunking, if you're a GEO bro, go ahead. I just call it good content writing, something which is easy to understand and read.
And with the content then, would you recommend structuring in a Q&A format? So say this trainer business, I have flat feet. What trainers would you recommend for people with flat feet? Would you structure it like so?
Yeah, absolutely. So that would be obviously a different blog post. But what search engines like as well, and I've tested this out with client blog posts where we were talking about development for, I'm not going to talk about their brand, but it was a blog post about development. And what we did was that we did generic questions, but it's like, what are the 4 types of this thing? And we went through the 4 types, and then within it, I cited what they'd done for their clients. So it was like, so it's like, this is the thing, this is what it means, this is what you do. Here's a link to a case study. So not only did that blog post rank number 1 on Google, it also was number 1 on its AI overviews with a link and with a snippet for their image that we use. It was also top cited on ChatGPT as well. So this is a perfect example where content can appear across all these different search platforms. So when GEO Bros, I'm just going to go over it now. GEO Bros are talking about being found on just AI platforms. How about we get found on all of them? Because that's what it's all about. This is all, like, if you want to call it free traffic, it's not, well, it depends if you're paying someone or not. But these are all places you can be found. The exact same content, and however people are going to be searching, whether they're just using ChatGPT, or they're using Google, Bing, whatever it happens to be, if you're ranking on Google, you're going to rank as well on ChatGPT.
Great advice. Can you offer any practical advice for any business owners with no scaremongering or overwhelm? What's the couple of things they should be doing now?
Okay, so what you should be doing now is, first of all, 2 tools, your Google Analytics and your Google Search Console. Now, Google Search Console only picks up traffic from Google Search. It's not showing AI overviews yet, which is a massive oversight, but there we have it. So with Google Analytics, I have custom reports set up for my clients to show all the traffic from all the LLMs on that. So you can do that. It doesn't take long, but it's basically you just make like a custom report, and then you pop in a little bit of code, and then it will produce the report every month. So you can start to see where you're getting traffic from. It doesn't pick up the impressions without a click, so it's just literal traffic to your website if someone's actually clicked on the link within there. There are other tools that you can use. They are paid for, and they all seem to be pretty expensive, which is also another thing, which is slightly causing a little bit of a ruffle of feathers, I have to say, in the marketing world, and special sort of SEO, GEO world. So there are different ways you can track your traffic from all the different platforms. I would say don't ignore what is now being called traditional search engines. Google is still top search. People are using AI alongside it, but in terms of traffic to sites, Google is number one. So yeah, those would be my top things. But also try not to get sucked into the hype, because it happens all the time. Whatever new bit of software technology comes out, everyone starts talking about it and going, "Are you ready? You're going to get left behind. This is dead. This is the future." It never is. It never is. So yeah, don't panic. Don't suddenly stop doing your SEO. Don't suddenly stop updating your website, because at the end of the day, if you stop updating your website and you stop working on it, how are AI platforms and LLMs going to find you?
Exactly. If business owners could fix only one thing on their website to improve visibility, what advice would you give?
Make sure it can be indexed. Which sounds really simple, but it is massively overlooked. I recently worked on a site that just been launched, and it hadn't even been indexed at all. It'd been live for a few months because of various reasons, and that was months and months of no traffic, no brand awareness at all. So massive issue there. So yeah, I would say first and foremost, make sure it can be indexed. If it can't be indexed or trawled by bots, whether that's search engines or LLMs, then you're going nowhere fast.
Okay, and can you just explain the whole process of how people get their site indexed for those that don't know?
A bit of a can of worms. So the usual issues, although it depends, because I'm an SEO and I say it depends a hell of a lot. So it does depend. So the usual culprits are content. If you have really thin content on your website or your internal pages, then search engines come along and they go, well, there's not a lot going on here. Why should I bother indexing it? I've got tons of other pages that are indexed for the same things. I'm not going to index yours because it's not great, frankly. So watch your content. Make sure it's useful. Make sure it's talking to your ideal client. Like I mentioned, with blog posts are really awful for not being indexed because they're just thin or they're ChatGPT straight through. The other thing for getting a new domain, brand new domain indexed, is your authority. So you want to start thinking about your backlinks. So when a new domain doesn't get indexed, it's usually because search engines just go, well, I'm faced with billions of websites and millions are being launched every day, every hour. Why should I index yours? And again, it's down to authority. And again, that is backlinks to your site. So sort of even just doing simple things like linking from Yale, LinkedIn. You don't have to go down a massive pushed paid for digital PR route. You can do it from free sources. Again, just making sure your homepage is actually structured correctly, so you've got the right information on there. You're linking to your top pages within it.
Sorry, I just realised I asked you such a big question.
That's all right.
Something I always do is whenever I publish a new podcast episode or a blog, I always still go on to Google Search Console and make sure that blog is indexed and just submit it anyway. I mean, chances are Google or Bing will pick it up, but just in case they don't, I still just do the old-fashioned indexing.
No, It is like one of my favourite things to do, because don't rely on bots coming along. Don't sort of think, just assume that they will. Most often, they will. But actually, it was another LinkedIn post with someone saying, "Oh, don't bother, sort of doing a URL inspection and pushing it through." It's like, well, why? It's like a 2-second job. Just pop. You've got a brand new blog post. I do it all the time. It gets indexed usually within like an hour. That's massively speeded up. I know it's done. It's like, why wouldn't you?
Yes, because it's a 5-minute job, if that.
It's there.
Okay.
It's there for a reason. Like, use it,
Absolutely. I ask all my guests a bonus question at the end of the episode. So, Alice, what's a piece of advice that you come back to when things get tough?
When things get tough. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. Which is very open-ended, I know. There's a little bit of a cop-out answer. But yeah, it does. I will put my hand up and I say, as an SEO, when ChatGPT came along, I thought, I'm not going to swear, I thought, blimey. Blimey.
You can swear if you want.
Yeah, I thought, blimey, okay, what's this going to mean for kind of search, SEOs, my entire career? Is everything going to come falling down around my ears? And then very, very quickly, I was like, no, this is not anything to be worried about. It's a tool at the end of the day. I would say, if you're doing, and no offense to anyone, although I am going to criticise now, no offense to everyone who does just use ChatGPT, I'd say be very wary of just using ChatGPT, because it is designed to tell you what you want. And actually, another LinkedIn post about it, which really sort of hammered it home. It said it was, I'm going to have to paraphrase because I can't remember the wording exactly, but it was like, only use ChatGPT to ask questions you already know the answer to. And I was like, that perfectly sums it up, because ChatGPT and all its cousins and brothers and sisters love to hallucinate. And I quite often have arguments with it where I know it's wrong. And I'm like, are you sure? Do you want to double check? And it's like, oh no, it is that. And it's like, no, it's not. And then I get really happy when it apologizes and goes, oh, I suppose you were right. It's like, I know I was. But yeah, it will hallucinate. It will hallucinate stuff. It will give you the wrong information because it's drawing data from lots of different sources. So do your research. And actually, I'm not going to say I was caught out, but my husband, who's actually very tech savvy, so I don't know what he was doing. I think he was hallucinating. But we got caught out with Google AI overview with some advice on planning, which was wrong. So do your research.
That's very good advice. So what happened with the planning then, Alice?
Oh, God. Well, yes, indeed. It was my office, actually, and he read the overviews and missed the vital thing, which said you need to get planning if it's on the side of a house, which it is. So we had to do retrospective, and luckily I don't have to tear it down or move it or anything like that. But be very careful, because obviously it costs money to go through retrospective. So and we had to do various other things. So be very careful.
Yeah.
Anything, I would say, anything to do with financial, or like Google's algorithm for your money or your life. It's not an Adam Ant song. It's literally called your money or your life. Anything which is to do with your life or your money, anything which is going to hurt you health-wise or financially, do your research. Do not take ChatGPT as gospel, please. And I'm sure people have seen news items about that. So, yeah.
With our age group, I assume we're similar, Alice. I'm sure we're in our 40s.
I'm 45. I don't know. I'm not gonna guess.
Okay, so I'm 47. So I think when we use tools like ChatGPT, we do engage with it and we challenge it and we ask questions and we're doubtful, a bit skeptical about the responses.
Very menopausal. I'm very argumentative now.
But what I worry about is the Generation Z or even younger ones that use it and just simply copy and paste and just take the responses verbatim. And they've not been trained or they're not developed yet enough to challenge it. So that's what I worry about. Not us middle-aged folks. It's the younger generation that might not challenge it.
Yeah, I think it is something which you also need to be really mindful about. And I think schools are doing really good work around that. And I've got a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old. My 9-year-old taught himself how to search when he was like 5. I was so proud. I was like, this is my job, and you've just taught yourself. Although it was a bit like, well, okay, let's just slow down. My husband and I are very obviously search and tech savvy because of what we do, although my husband might need to actually go back and think about that himself. So we talk about it a lot with our kids, and don't believe everything that you read online, and safety and online safety and things like that. So I think coupled with parents who can discuss it with their children and keep an eye on it, and obviously have safety measures involved as well, is very important. And like, we're fully aware of what our kids are doing and what they're looking at. But also I know schools as well are very aware of it. And I know that my kids have been covering that in school as well, and like online safety. I mean, it's hard because obviously I'm in a bubble, in my own sort of bubble. But I like to think their generation, because they're growing up with it, will be savvy.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much again for your time, for joining me on the SALT sessions again. I really enjoyed our discussion, and I sure hope listeners will find it very engaging. If people want to connect with you, where can they find you, Alice?
Not on ChatGPT, no, you will. So LinkedIn, I'm very active on LinkedIn. Yeah, I would say LinkedIn is my little home. I also have Substack, but I'm hopeless with writing on that. But yeah, come seek me out on LinkedIn.
Brilliant. Thank you for your time. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.